Now, the biggest theme that we're seeing across the board is, okay, crypto is officially getting into bear market territory. However, do we have the confirmations just yet? Confirmations, I cannot stress this enough, are very, very, very important. Well, we're going to be going over some of the indicators that we've been looking at to keep us on the right side of not just this cycle, but even the previous cycles, and it's worked out like a dream. But in addition to this, Sean dropped some insane alpha in his previous live stream. There's this one segment where he talks about USDT dominance. All right, he noticed something. There's something very, very, very important, and it's going to give you some insight that I bet you have not seen anywhere else. I'll be playing the alpha clip at the end of this video. But for cyclical indicator number 1, that is none other than the biweekly dynamic support. Now, currently, price is hovering underneath the biweekly dynamic support, but no official close. Has this happened before? Yes, it has. Notice that wick in July of 2024. Price did wick down past the dynamic support, past the position manager zone, only to close significantly above the biweekly dynamic support. That's why candle closes are important, but we do have past precedent of price dipping below only to close over. Confirmation is key. Not just that, even earlier this year, we saw price dip below the dynamic support only to close that candle green once again, which is why this time around as well, we want to wait for that confirmation. We don't have confirmation just yet. So this cyclical support still holds. And to put something else into perspective for you guys, so far this cycle, these have been all the key drawdowns, okay? The first one came in September of 2023, which was a good 21%. The second one came in the summer of 2024, which was a good 33%. The third one came in earlier this year, which was also 32%. Now, is this current dip that we're going through out of the ordinary? Well, let's go ahead and measure that. From the top all the way to the bottom, that's a good 30% on this drawdown. My point here is that this drawdown is not out of the ordinary. We've seen 30% on average drawdowns this entire cycle so far. Now for cyclical indicator number 2, monthly 10 simple moving average. I know it looks ugly as hell, but I want you guys to picture this candle. Okay, what did this candle look like when it was at the bottom of the wick? That was one big, massive red candle underneath the monthly 10 simple moving average. Had you not waited on the confirmation and got spooked out of position and said, no, this is bear market, I'm getting out of this trade, well, guess what? You missed out on another 2x on the trade. To draw out this candle for you, this is what it looked like. Okay, this is what that candle looked like. Would you consider that a good-looking candle at the time? No, it was only after the fact. In hindsight, did you say, okay, that was a bounce, it got supported, but you waited on the close to figure out if it held or not? It's the same story here. We gotta wait on the close, and for as long as we do not have the close under, you cannot call bear market just yet. And for the final segment, the massive alpha drop, which was USDT dominance, Sean noticed something that was on point. So I want you guys to sit back and enjoy this part.
Okay, guys. We are about to show you the coolest thing I found. Okay, now I addressed this like a few months ago with you guys. I went through how every one of these high lows over here, right, has lined up with cyclical tops. Now, what we are looking at over here is USDT dominance. Okay, basically how much money is flowing in and out of stablecoins. Now, we identified, like we went over this a few months ago, where we said every one of these high lows seems to line up with Bitcoin cycle tops. This break of this channel, right, this rising channel, it never sat entirely well with me, because think about it, even though we've been going into a rising channel of dollar dominance, USDT dominance, the bull market has been running, right? The macro bull market, Bitcoin on the 3-month chart, the yearly chart has been running for years now. So this lines up with money coming into the market. Now, if this is going sideways and not going down, what does that really tell us? It tells us that money is not exiting and leaving the market anymore. Money is rotating within the market. I can get into the nitty-gritties of that some other time, but that lined up, by the way, guys, with why we needed to focus our efforts on just a few assets at a time and not go for the big altcoin season where everything's going to pump, right? That did not make sense. What made sense was, hey, find the coins that are doing really, really well and focus all your efforts on those coins. And don't try to be smart, just play the trend on those coins, because money is rotating from a set of few coins, then to a set of few coins, and then to a set of few coins. We identified Bitcoin as a major, Sol in the beginning cycle. Okay, we took on the Sui trade and then switched on to Ethereum. And then we've been trying for other trades as well. You don't need to get them all right. You need to get you don't even need most of them right with the kind of wins you get. We have been getting. But the funny thing is that crypto makes it very easy as long as you're willing to be humble and say, I'm only going to buy strength. This is not performing well. Put into strength. And that strength keeps growing. This, however, got really interesting because that high-low theory, right, even though we were going sideways, it played out again. March 2024, guys, this high-low here ended up being the high on Bitcoin. Local high, yes, but a significant local high. I marked it out for you guys over here, March 2024, right? Then, again, December 2025, the second part of the W, or head and shoulders, call it what you want, right? It ended up being a high on Bitcoin, a local high in December 2024. Now, again, in August 2025, this time we were prepared for this, right? And it lined up with our cycle thesis too. At Mango, we're playing 6-month cycles. Don't care about the 4-year cycle. We don't care about the extended cycle bullshit. We don't care about any of that. We play things actionably, right? Because you can actually put on positions and just wait to see. Anyways, all of that pisses me off. Again, over here, August 2024, we ended up putting a local high. Interesting. Okay. Now, something I've marked out way before even identifying that this thing is still intact was this red zone here, which was essentially the inflection point of the breakdown. Each time we have expected US dominance to reject off the zone. Okay, and what I was looking for was a huge Bitcoin move where we reject and then go down like this, right? That's kind of why I was looking at it. But it didn't play out that way. This kept going sideways, or Bitcoin kept going up, right? Essentially showing us that, hey, money's not really entering the market. And Bitcoin is still showing strength while we're seeing sideways movement. Now, again, interestingly, each one of these peaks into this resistance level has lined up with Bitcoin lows, right? You can go over here, see again, this was around August 2024-ish, September 2024-ish. Go on over to the charts. We're going to go to March 2024, and we're going to mark out August to September, which would be somewhere around here, right? So this zone ended up being the low because what happened right after, we went on to put on the next high, right? Now we go back over here, and that was August 2024. We'll go on to this one. This was around March 31st to April, right? So 2025. So we're going to go on with the Bitcoin chart, mark out the same thing, move this box, take it out, and it was right over here, March to April. And again, we had a nice rally. Now, coincidentally, we are sitting right up against the red box again. Now, we could come back to the top of the red box, by the way, right? Likely will, because we did it last time too. However, one could say that, hey, you could mark out a trend line like this. That's good enough. We don't need to get it perfect over there. We're sitting on bi-weekly dynamic as well, monthly support. And do we see Bitcoin bounce here and do another run leading into, I don't know whether we go all the way to March, but I wouldn't be surprised if we do something like Feb and then dump into March, because Krisha's birthday is usually you want to be out of the markets before Krisha's birthday. How about them apples? Huh, guys?
And now you guys see why we cannot call bear market too soon without the confirmations. I get it, it seems like a 50-50 split, but over my years of trading, I've always thanked myself when I've waited for the confirmations. Now, for those of you looking to make money, there's so much volatility. I'm enjoying myself. There's volatility to the short side, there's volatility to the long side, which means there's money on the table. Now, I am going to be posting more trade setups on the daily videos. If you guys want to keep up with that, make sure you're hitting the sub and the bell icon. And also check out the BitUnix bonus. Those are back for as long as you use the link in the description below. All you got to do is deposit $500, put on one trade, could be any size. It could be $10, $20, and they're literally giving you $100 free to trade with. I'll be linking that as well below, so take advantage of it. I will now see you in the Discord chat. With this, trade safely, trade stress-free, trade the mango way, trade the easy way. Ciao, you guys.